some people may say, oh, leaders are no longer talking about sustainability. But you need to listen closely because leaders are very much talking about energy efficiency. They talk about renewable energy being like the most cost competitive energy on the planet, becoming more resilient and then finding the opportunity for growth in an ever changing world. That is what leaders talk about. And that is very much sustainability.
Hi, I'm Lauren Espin, and this is the Optimistic Outlook podcast. Thanks for listening. Today, I am excited to share with you a conversation between Siemens USA CEO Ann Fairchild and Eva Riesenhuber, Siemens Global Head of Sustainability and a 2025 TIME100 Climate leader, who has a front row seat to not only Siemens' own transformation, but also how we're helping to scale sustainability impact across industry and infrastructure. Sustainability is core to Siemens' business strategy and has been for some time. Our first sustainability report was published nearly 20 years ago, offering transparency into our priorities, and we were among the first industrial companies to commit to carbon neutrality. Our goal is to be a net zero company by 2030. And while our focus hasn't changed, technology has. We've seen much needed advancements in tools that can help us accelerate our sustainable journey. We're also seeing that when we move the needle towards sustainability, it isn't just a win for the planet. It's the ticket to building more efficient and resilient business practices, to cutting costs, to driving future growth. This is the convergence that's happening right now. Investments in digital technologies are not only making us more sustainable, they're setting the foundation for long-term competitiveness and adaptability. This comes at an urgent time as industry and infrastructure continue to weather the unpredictable climate risks and geopolitical instability. I'll let Eva and Ann explain more. Take a listen.
Eva, welcome to Washington. We're so glad you could be with us in the US this week. I'm so excited to be finally here. I'm going to start with a quote that you delivered last year during New York Climate Week that captures the importance of having a long-term perspective with investing in sustainability. You said, pausing now due to short-term pressures would only raise future costs. How important is steadiness when we talk about investing in sustainability? It's the magic sauce. Because transform we must. And we already out of time when you look at tipping points, climate tipping points being accelerated to 2030, or the UN declaring water bankruptcy earlier this year, where some areas will just be running out of water without an opportunity to replenish. We know we're stretching these planetary boundaries, and it's no longer like sometime in the future discussion. Unfortunately, we are starting to feel it. We feel the extreme weather. We see the insurance losses. So we have to adjust. We have to adapt. If we want to continue to be relevant, we have to invest in resilience and really find a way that navigates at the limit of like request for return what can be done. And it's felt everywhere. Like governments are pushing companies into transformations. The customers are demanding it. Markets are changing. So we do see all of that and have to navigate it. And how has this been part of our strategy at Siemens? And so we at Siemens are, to a certain extent, fortunate because more than 90% of our business has a positive impact on sustainability for our customers. So it's in decarbonization, energy efficiency. It's in resource efficiency and circularity. And then, of course, people centricity and society. So that means for us, we are finding the solutions for the challenges to societal infrastructure. We in buildings, electrification, mobility, and industry automation. We can look through that as a system, and we can use that to make our customers more competitive, more resilient, and more sustainable. We're seeing increasing urgency around the entire topic. Even the language you're using, you can really sense, right? I mean, water bankruptcy. These things are so urgent these days. Businesses and communities are managing climate and geopolitical risks unlike any time before. But to your point, there's also an overall business case, the opportunity to be more cost efficient and resilient. And competitiveness is driving a lot of this behavior, to be honest, especially in our world of industry and infrastructure. So I'm interested to know how leaders are thinking about sustainability right now and prioritizing it as a business objective. Have we seen any major shifts in this regard?
Some people may say, oh, leaders are no longer talking about sustainability. But you need to listen closely because leaders are very much talking about energy efficiency. They talk about renewable energy being like the most cost competitive energy on the planet. They're talking about resource scarcity. So how do you alleviate that and make the company more resilient? It is circularity that will allow us to close the loop and make sure resources stay in the loop, which also benefits governance because once scarce material cross the border, they stay within the geopolitical area, making the whole country more resilient. So it's navigating that scarcity, adapting to the new situation, becoming more resilient, and then finding the opportunity for growth in an ever-changing world. That is what leaders talk about, and that is very much sustainability.
Siemens is in this unique position right now of leading the integration of advanced technologies in the industrial world. And of course, no conversation on digital transformation, sustainability, or energy would be complete if we didn't talk about AI. So let's zoom in on AI because while AI can help us pinpoint efficiencies, it also requires significant power and resources. And that's a big conversation in the US right now. How do we use AI to accelerate progress while also addressing the challenges of how energy intensive it is?
So I believe it's always important to remember we're talking about industrial AI. And industrial AI is not new. It's been developing for more than 30 years, like starting with machine patterns and now being where it is at its most powerful. And here, the benefits far outweigh the risks. And I give you some examples. So with our grid software, and we have around 75% of the world's electricity runs through grids powered or using our products. And here we're now leveraging our grid software. And with AI, we can get up to 30% more load onto the same grid because it's now so complex, right? Like feeding and taking out electricity, like all of the renewables being connected, balancing the load, like running those grids at their utmost limit without risking any kind of blackouts. That's the name of the game. And that also makes more resource efficiency because you don't have to build more grids there. Mm-hmm. But then it's when you look at our product design, for example, here we're leveraging AI, and I give you the example of a robot gripper. And it has been robot grippers in factories have been around for a long time. We used our Team Center software, and it played through a million different options how to design a robot gripper, and it came up with this robot gripper that looks like a hollowed out coral. It's a polymer that's printed in a 3D printer, and it reduced the weight from 50 kilograms to 2 kilograms. Now imagine what that means, like the energy you're saving. So it reduces the energy by 90%, but it has the same load capacity. So this is what AI can achieve. It is seeing patterns and ways of solving problems that we could never see before. And when you now think about the challenges that we're facing, and here is like, since we are in societal infrastructure, the backbone of economies, buildings, electrification, mobility, and industry, we can use AI for system thinking. It's autonomous buildings. I mean, they're going to be linked to weather data and transportation data. They know how many people are coming in and how rooms heat up and where to channel. So all of that is the future. And you have to be able to think across the different parts of societal infrastructure to see the system. And AI is putting us into the unique possibility and situation to leverage that.
But there's the footprint.
The footprint is land, it's energy, it's water usage, it's heating up the surrounding temperature around a data center.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the social impact on energy costs. So all of that is very, very important. And what we do at Siemens is, on the one hand, we use green electricity to power our own data centers. But we also have a green IT policy, which means that we're directly discussing with the hyperscalers and getting the information how the data centers that we're using are being powered, what the water usage is. Of course, it's very important to us to keep that to a minimum. We're also working on an industrial AI foundation model. And here there are also ways of how do you train your AI, the algorithm. There's a lot happening in the industry right now to make sure you're optimizing all of that.
So as a global company, we have operations around the world, and you've had this vantage point of seeing Siemens and how we operate. Help our listeners understand how Siemens does assess our global operations around the world in terms of sustainability impact.
So we set ourselves targets in the areas of energy efficiency and decarbonization, resource efficiency, circularity, the people centricity and society aspect, and targets in the foundation, which is governance and ethics. So what we firmly believe is what gets measured gets done. So for each of these targets, we have actions and policies and programs, and then we collect the data every quarter and we look at it, we analyze it. And that way we move the reporting into the performance management. But of course, it all starts with setting targets that make strategic sense because they connect to the transformation that we have to deliver on the one hand, but they also connect to the value that we add for our customers. And I actually believe that this is probably a good way for any company, because every company can contribute a different piece to the puzzle. Our strengths are uniquely in those areas of circularity and decarbonization, and of course everyone should care about people and society. But here, if we all do our part, we actually really have a chance to shape the future.
And so we like to end our podcast by asking our guests to give us their own optimistic outlook. So, Eva, how much progress on sustainability do you believe will occur between now and 2030? And also share your views for beyond.
So by 2030, Siemens will have reduced our CO2 footprint in our own operations by 90%. This is without offsets. This is truly amazing. So we were running on 10% of the footprint we had back in 2019. Also, 100% of our products, services, and software will be robust eco-designed. We will have zero waste to landfill. We will have saved more than 1,000 megatons of customer avoided emissions. We'll have shared our knowledge with communities and partners and more than 3 million people around the world, because we believe in this transformation. We need to take as many people as we can along, and knowledge should not be held back. We will have implemented programs around all of our sites. We will have a fully implemented biodiversity strategy for all our sites. So there's so many things that we are looking forward to achieving that really contributes to the strengths, and not just our transformation, but how everyone needs to transform.
Yeah.
But when you look at when I think about what is my optimistic outlook, I really believe that we are at a point where we can reimagine business. with all the volatility in the world and the geopolitical tension and the AI and the disruptions. So there's so much going on. We know we have to do the energy transition. We know we have to do the circularity transition. We have, for the first time in history, the data. We know what needs to be done and why it needs to be done. We have AI as a tremendously powerful tool. We can really reimagine how we achieve what we're achieving today in a much better way. So I'm really optimistic, and technology is the key to all of this.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that inspirational view, and it's been a pleasure having you today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Optimistic Outlook. Be sure to tune in for more conversations with leaders shaping technology for a better tomorrow. Please subscribe to The Optimistic Outlook wherever you listen to your podcasts, and be sure to share the podcast with a friend or colleague.